And we're live.
I don't think Jon Jones wants to fight. Big boy. I don't think he wants to
Who's he
fight
fighting?
Ngannou.
I'm not a. You guys are UFC.
Yeah, see,
Like,
so Ngannou was like,
oh,
Jon Jones was
Ngannou
champion
just
of.
fought, right?
Yeah, he's the
Yeah,
heavyweight champ now, and so they're
right.
trying to figure out who he's going to fight. And Derek Lewis wants to fight him, who's a heavyweight who's actually beaten him in the past. He said he'll do it for 10 million. Jon Jones, who's moved up from light heavyweight to heavyweight, he's been putting on mass for like a year, like fucking doing crazy workouts on Instagram. Is like, yeah, $10 million doesn't do it. I want some hazard pay for this. And we're talking 15 or 20. I want more front end money. I want back end money. You're gonna have to pay me to fight this man. And the
Really?
most recent thing I heard was Ngannou was like, maybe I'll just go box Tyson Fury.
I
So
mean,
it's
boxing. Does boxing have a? And sorry, because I am like I watch all the UFC fights, but it's just I don't care. I just want to see people beat the shit out of each other.
yeah,
I'm not. I don't like right. But does boxing have a higher initial payout,
big
which
time.
is right, which is why we see people like Ngannou or
So boxing is even more spread between the have and the have-nots, right? So the top of the card in boxing
Got
can
it.
sometimes make like 50 million, which would be way better, or even more, 100 million, which is better than you'll ever see in the UFC. But at the bottom of the UFC, these guys are making 12 and 14,000, whereas at the bottom in boxing, they're like hundreds. Like they're pretty much unpaid.
But also another like part of that equation is the UFC pays the least amount of their total revenue out to their fighters amongst the combat sports. It's I don't remember the percentage, but it's rather low in the grand scheme of things.
as in they're reaping the rewards for paying out less. So, but they're more
Yeah,
concentrated and they're normalizing it down here versus
These
boxing is
percentages aren't perfect, but they're going to be pretty good.
okay.
Football, hockey, they tend to pay about half their revenue to the players. And the UFC is something like 19%.
Jesus.
Yeah. So
That's pretty incredible I didn't know that. Not
yeah. I don't
that
recall the
give a
exact
shit
percentages
either way,
either,
but
but
that's pretty
there is a
wild.
big disparity
It's
when
something like
compared to
that.
the other major
Wow.
sports. Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know. Also in like UFC news, I don't know if anybody gives a shit about this, but Reebok is out and Venom is in.
The uniforms look pretty similar to me, I thought.
I figured they would. I figured they wouldn't like break the mold and go ridiculous with it. They have an aesthetic that they want to go with, and I do like the uniformity. Everybody kind of looking the same. Maybe three different looks, like a real like small thing, a medium thing, and more of a board short type thing. I like I like I like that. I like that the
Never
women
mattered
have
much
like
to me.
multiple.
Back in the day, when a guy had like a giant Condom Depot ad on his ass,
Yeah,
that was fun to me. Like, I don't know. It didn't make him seem like less of a fighter or less of an organization. I can
sure.
see why, especially if the American audience, they're accustomed to watching baseball, football, hockey, where you don't have random advertisers on
Yeah, it's
there.
very NASCAR.
Yeah, but I think what's happened is the UFC just took all the money for themselves. Like, it used to be the fighters would go get people to sponsor them, Venom, Condom Depot, some casino, etc., and advertise on their shorts. Now the UFC went out, got Reebok or Venom to pay for it, and they just give a little pittance to the people. Like it was a way.
It depends how big you are, but yeah, it's less. Yeah, Jon Jones. I don't know if you watched that link I sent you. It's Jon Jones being interviewed on Steve-O's like podcast type thing. They do it in a van, which is interesting. Kind of a van life situation.
Whose
van
dog is
cast. I'm guessing Steve-O's because Jon Jones didn't touch it.
Okay, where I saw a portion where he did. He kind of cuddled the dog.
I
was like, is this Joe Rogan will give his audience pot and alcohol to loosen them up a little bit, to make them a better podcast guest. I'm like, is Steve-O doing that with his dog? This putting the guy at ease? Maybe maybe I'm crazy.
Maybe can't do pot and alcohol.
I think he just lives in that fucking van and the dog's along for the ride.
It might be just simple as that.
Yeah, I found it to be interesting. I see Jon Jones' side of things, of course, because I like Jon. I liked hearing him say that, it was pretty humiliating when he hit and ran that pregnant woman. Like he said that verbatim, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I like the guy. And look, if I'm a UFC fighter, if I'm Jon Jones, I'll fight just about anybody for, that $8 million, $5 million, $10 million, whatever. That's an enormous amount of money, right? But I get it when he's talking about there should be a little hazard pay for fighting this Ngannou motherfucker. He is just first of all, I would it's not going to sound right for Jon Jones to say it, but if anybody else were going to have to fight Ngannou, I would be calling for more thorough testing every time they put a mic in front of me. I'd be like, he's cheating. We all know he's cheating. You don't shovel sand as a kid and look like that. This isn't Conan the Barbarian where they just have a quick montage of Arnold Schwarzenegger as a child pushing like a wheel in the desert, and then suddenly clickety click, clickety clack, he's Mr. Universe. That shit don't happen. All right. This guy's lats. This guy's delts. This guy's fucking head are all just superhuman. He doesn't look like a regular human fucking being. He doesn't look like a regular professional athlete. Like, he doesn't look real. We need to test him more thoroughly. I'll pay. Look, I'll tell you, how about this?
That's a good line.
Pay me $20 million to fight Ngannou. Take 5 of it back and spend that testing Ngannou between now and when we fight, okay? I'm down.
Here's what I want from Jon Jones, and it's what Jorge Masvidal. I got his name right? I'm blanking on it. Yeah,
sounds right.
But yeah, so Jorge Masvidal, he was gonna fight for the, I think, badass motherfucker title that they made up, and he said, Dana, here's the deal. I want a cut of the pay-per-view. You can raise the cap. I'll take no cut of the first. I'm making up numbers here. 500,000 buys, but I want a big cut of the over 500,000. I'm partnering with you in this thing. I'm taking some of the risk. I will only get rich if this thing is the hit that I think it will be. But if it is the hit I think it will be, I get rich. It was a hit. He got rich. Jon Jones isn't doing that. Jon Jones is saying, look, I know historically I'm a shit draw. I'm one of the best fighters, or we'll say most successful fighters to have ever done this. But no one wants to watch me.
Is he the foot stomp meta guy?
He does some of
That's
that.
more Usman.
Usman is the guy I'm thinking of.
So Jon Jones has been called for steroids a bunch of times. People don't like him. He's a boring interview. But one of his biggest problems is he's very good. So it almost seems like there's no Larry Bird, Magic Johnson fight of equals. He's been undefeated for like 10 years now, and no one can build a big name with him there beating everyone who crosses his path. So every time there's a Jon Jones fight, it's an A side and not a B side, but like an F side. No one gives a fuck, and it's just this mismatch and he wins. All right. Not this time. This time, we've got Ngannou, who's an A side, Jones, who's an A side. I honestly don't even know who should be favored in that fight. It is clash of the titans. If Jones went in there and said, hey, first $500,000, give me nothing. I want a big chunk of the sales over $500,000, right? Let's partner in this thing. I'll take some of the risk, but if this thing goes like I think it can, I get rich. I think Dana would do it. Instead, Jones is like, we're not partners. I want all the money up front. I want 20 million, 50 million just for showing up. If I'm Dana, I'm like, why do I want this deal? Dude, you never fucking sell anything. I want you to have some skin in the game. I want you to want to promote this. You want all this money up front, whether it does well or not? No. You should want this money if it does well, and then we're both of the mindset that this thing needs to sell. You'll be out there doing media like a Conor McGregor would. That's what he should do.
I agree. I agree with all that. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I what I really hope is that he doesn't go off Ngannou doesn't go off and box, because I don't care.
Boxing sucks.
Boxing sucks.
Yes. You know that he can't do that without Dana's approval.
Yeah, but he can also be like, approve me or I won't do this or I won't do that. Approve me or pay me $30 million to fight Jon Jones. I've been nice about this, saying you can pay me what the contract says to fight Jon Jones. Maybe I won't be so nice. I want 3 months to do this, and then I'll come back and I'll fight Derek Lewis. And if DC wants some, he can come get it. And Jon Jones and whoever, I'll fight them both in the same night, line them up. Like, I'll fight a Buick one night. Like, we'll do a man versus car. Like whatever you can.
Hey,
how about a Grand Prix where you get to pick any 10 men in the audience and I fight them in succession. Like,
There's a chimpanzee in the audience for some reason.
Am I the only one who would prefer freak fights like that occasionally?
That would be
like,
incredible. I want as a casual, not from the sport viewer, but as somebody that just wants pure entertainment. I don't care. I have no money in the game. I would love to see like the joy that I saw when we led up to like the most recent Jake Paul, Logan Paul, whatever boxing fight, where I was watching some guy get was it an NBA guy just get laid out by another YouTuber. I was like, awful boxing. I love this. It's reality TV. Like, this is incredible. I would love to see some almost Roman-esque. Like, obviously, I don't want to see somebody's arm get ripped literally out of their socket.
No.
Probably. Probably.
I
Probably.
do. I hope that's the future. I hope the future is literally like the fucking Running Man. I'm doing a little Arnold Schwarzenegger binge recently. Last night I watched Total Recall. Tonight I'm watching Running Man. As soon as we're done here, The Running Man, for those who don't know, I think it might be on Netflix. Check it out. It's awful. But it's
Good so.
it's this futuristic game show where criminals are thrown into a gladiatorial arena of the future, and they have to fight the champions who are like reality TV show stars of the day, and they each have a gimmick. Like there's like Sub-Zero, and he's like this hockey playing guy who's like kills people on the ice with like a razor tipped hockey stick, and then there's several of them. Yeah. I would look. I think that should be a thing. Like maybe take our worst criminals, like the people that we know are guilty. Like I don't want. Let's not throw any marijuana possession folks into the bunch or anything like
you
that.
have to do something up to kids.
But you know, the worst of the worst, right? Like and throw them in there. Let them fight for their freedom, maybe.